Happy Monday. How you doing,
Well, I
buddy?
would be happier if the Leafs managed to win, but they didn't. So I do a little bit of this, but they played a great season. I
Well,
love them forever.
I see all your
Screw the
jerseys are
refs.
gone.
The refs ruined that series. That's all I'm going to say about it. Still love them. Still love them. They played
I,
great.
I noticed you still have a pillow there
Still love
available.
them. Still
Still
love
love.
them forever. Can't help it.
Amazing. Well, I'm sorry to hear. I think I texted you. I said sorry about your loss.
No,
And
I was up at the cottage on the weekend when I got that, and I wasn't ready to respond.
amazing.
My clown,
Um,
yes.
Yeah. Well, you're one of many clowns out there cheering them on year after year. So
Yeah.
hopefully one day you'll get your just desserts and
One
a
day
nice
it'll
Stanley
be
Cup,
awesome.
right?
Speaking of just desserts, what are we pouring today?
Oh, I'm gonna
Something
grab it
special for a very special guest.
for sure. Is it me or do I hear an echo on my mic?
What? What?
Oh, never mind then. Okay. All right.
I got myself a little Woodford Reserve double barrel.
Oh, nice. I'm just doing some nice clean tequila.
Double oak. Nice. Yeah, I should have more tequila. Yeah.
Feels good for you.
I think it's healthy for you.
Yeah, it's full of probiotics. It's like yogurt, but in alcohol form.
Yeah, but way better.
But way better.
I'm
Exactly.
cheersing in my Black Wolf Lounge cup that
Oh, I heard about these. I haven't seen them yet.
Samantha Carter. They bought it for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, there you go, buddy. I'm glad to see those finally arrived.
Nice. Yeah, I know you had a little hand in that too, so thank you.
I'm curious to drink. I look forward to having my first old fashioned out of that this summer.
Yes.
You know,
Can't wait for
maybe
you to come
maybe
down.
on my birthday. We'll see. I don't know.
You guys should make it out here for sure in the summer. When
I
the
know.
pool's done, though, the pool liner
I
still
know.
a thing. You're gonna hear this pool liner story for the next couple. Anyway,
Is it better
Sarah,
than
how are you?
Hey, Mama, how you doing? Oh, hey, Alexia.
Alexia,
Oh.
right on, Alexia. How's it
There
going?
you go.
Past guest.
So how's the week been for you?
Well, it was a
Aside
little
from the
emotional.
Leafs,
Emotional for sure.
emotional. Okay. How's the art been coming along?
Pretty good. Sorry.
Yeah, the art.
Oh, it's going. It's going.
Yeah.
Sheldon and I have a game plan. He's getting more geared up, doing a little more writing, which has been great. And
Mm-hmm.
we consistently meet on a regular basis, face to face, because we're much more successful in person talking
It
about
did.
ideas.
It totally helps, man. Yeah, the
And,
energy in person is always a good
Yeah.
thing.
We went over those to steal the sun illustrations for any of those people waiting for them. They are in the process of being completed.
Yeah,
so,
we got all the other swag in. Now we're just
Hello,
waiting
Andy.
on you.
yes, I know. I'm waiting on me. No, the week's been good. I started playing soccer, outdoor soccer again, the first time in 2.5 years.
Nice.
So my legs are ruined.
Oh, good thing you're sitting for the evening. Then you're fine.
Man, my left knee is, I don't know what's going on with it. So I got to play again Thursday, so we'll see what happens. But
That's why I don't do sports. I just chill out.
well, I love playing. That's the only time I'll run that hard for anything. Except my legs.
I run for other things. Andrew, hello to you too, by the way. Good evening. And
How was your
we
week?
had well, good. I got actually we got all the Forest Folk extras off to the printers and developers, the manufacturers, and same with we got a whole bunch of swag in for Sheldon's campaign. So we're just really waiting on the reprinting of his book, and Forest Folk's going to press in about 3 weeks.
Nice.
And then we have Kookaburry
And
starting
there's this other little thing coming around the
in
corner.
1
right?
week. So
Hello, Stefan. And
hey, Stephanie, darling. Yeah, so we got that starting in a week. In what do you call it?
Exciting
7 days.
That's crazy. How you feeling about it? How you feeling about it so far?
It's overwhelming. You know, I've helped everybody else on their campaign, so now it's a little bit of just doing it for myself, which is shifting a bit of a gear, but really at the same time, I'm just kind of going through the same kind of building blocks as with the other campaigns, except now I'm just the one being spotlighted, basically. So, but I'm pretty excited. People, if they want, can bookmark the page. It's up live at bit.ly/Kookaburry. And the campaign goes live 11 a.m. about 7 days from now.
How many days is this one?
It's 24 or 28. I can't remember the exact number of days. Yeah. It'll run into TCAF, and then that'll be the end, basically.
Well, it's kind of cool. You can promote it at TCAF. You're gonna have some stuff there to hand out. Maybe promote it. Send people a link.
We'll see. We'll see. There you go. People are waiting. There you go. What do we got now? 595 followers. Wow. Four shy of 600. This is pretty good. I haven't looked at that in a while. Nice. So
that's great.
And so that's been my week. So I'm just preparing that basically. So tonight I'm just gonna take it easy though. We got a great guest for our final show of the season.
Yeah, I think maybe it's about time we introduce this crazy mofo.
I know. You may know him from such books as Bernard,
or from sketchbooks such as
Junk One. There we go. All the current stuff right there. 2008, 2009.
It's 2013. So.
There you go. But actually, people might know him from I Hate Fairyland, from Oz, from Tell Me You Love Me in the Dark, Middle West, and his newest, Twig. The last three of which I mentioned, he's just writing now. He's not even drawing. He's too big to draw. He's too big. He's just got no time. He's got to write stuff now. Yeah. But let's welcome aboard Skottie Young.
Scotty, get on in here, buddy.
There you go. There's the man.
Whoa, hello.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Cheers,
what are you wearing there? Stranger Things.
Stranger Things,
that.
Yeah. Listen, cheers. Let's do a cheers.
Let's cheers. A little cheers to Skottie Young. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, brothers.
Oh.
Cheers, buddy.
First, I just got to tell you guys thank you for supporting all my newest stuff. It's pretty cool.
No problem, buddy.
We do our best, man. We do our best. Well, I heard you had over 100,000 pre-orders for Twig.
150,000, over 150,000.
Wow, that is crazy.
And that's for issue number 1. So
you're bigger than Batman officially. That's impressive, man.
It's me and Kyle Strom, one of my buddies here in Kansas City. He's just crushing it on art, and we were blown away. We did not expect it. We expected the exact opposite, actually. We thought we were like, man, no. Well, we've talked a lot about this. You know what it's like when you are really just doing a personal project that's like, hey, I like little critter adventure, fantasy, Dark Crystal books. It's like us and like 20 other people. So usually we really thought like we're going to make this book that's kind of for us. Yeah. But other than that, I don't know who is going to, we didn't think that, but yeah, we were surprised.
It looks amazing. I got the preview from my editor just to look it over, and it looked amazing. The art.
Thanks, man.
I like the mountain dude reminds me of Pizza the Hut.
Yeah, Kyle crushed that. Like, it's so cool. There's a scene in it that has, Twig needs to get over to it, and the mountain opens its mouth and rolls out his big stone tongue.
That's awesome.
And Kyle sculpted that tongue in clay.
No way.
So I got to watch him go in and like unroll it, and that's how he drew it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like that shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But you've been making a pretty awesome transition over the years, because like the last big thing you were doing, I mean, you were doing a lot of big things, but you kind of went out from Marvel. You were doing all the baby covers. You had the big art book of all your covers. You were transitioning into a writing point over the last several years, and now pretty much like I don't think you're drawing anything. You're just doing variant covers and writing these days.
It wasn't necessarily a conscious decision. I thought I just needed to take about a year break. I had been writing and drawing. Well, I started at Marvel in 2001, and then had been drawing interiors forever. And then I wrote and drew Rocket Raccoon in 2014-15, and then I went right into writing and drawing I Hate Fairyland while writing Rocket Raccoon after I left. The art. So, like, I drew 20 issues of a creator-owned book, which you guys know. When you do a creator-owned book, you do everything.
Oh yeah.
You are the editor, the designer, you approve all the print files. Mm-hmm. You do everything, and 20 issues might not seem like a lot,
Oh my
But
God,
when
that is a
you
lot.
but when you are when you're doing your first, and that was my first creator-owned book.
Yeah.
So when I got to the end of that, I thought, you know what? It's been about, at that point, it had been about 17 solid years of interior pages. So I thought,
Yeah.
I'll take a break for a year,
Yeah.
and I'll write a few projects and see how that goes. Like,
Yeah.
basically see if anybody will accept it. Because like we're in a weird industry where it's like, whatever you do first, that's what you are, and it's very difficult for you to tell people that you have other facets. It's like, well, I mean, I've seen you draw. There's no possible way you know how to tell stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So luckily everybody really came out and supported the projects that I went on with Jorge with Middle West, and then followed up 18 issues of Middle West with The Me You Love in the Dark, and then Deadpool, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, that 1 year turned into 4 years of no interior art. But I've now written dozens and dozens and dozens of issues of comics, and I'm glad that I've taken the break, because I think I needed to learn that side of the craft. I just need to be able to focus on that. So now I'm kind of itching to get back and draw something. I don't know, I don't know what that means. I don't think that I have 60 issues in me anymore.
Would you do something different? Maybe like instead of doing a monthly, do like a graphic novel or something? Would that be something that would interest you?
I feel it'd be something more like that, and I don't even know if it would be. I don't even know if it'll be just a straight up sequential art story. I think it might be like an odd hybrid of, some sequentials, some illustrated essays, I don't know. I have a project that I'm working on now that's a really weird hybrid of a lot of things, and because I'm at that place now where I feel like enough things are working that it's time to experiment.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of it. Like, look at the old Cerebus. I don't know if you ever read Cerebus near the end there, where he'd half of a book would be prose, then he'd go into illustrations, back to comics.
Right.
And I know Eric is, with his writing partner, Sheldon, is trying a bit of that with their current project as well. So, I say, like, why not? Do whatever works, because you want to be excited. That's
yeah. And I just want to do something weird and like outside the box, and we spend so much time doing what we think we're supposed to do, or doing what sells and doing what fits the market and doing with this, and I'm never going to stop doing that, because I'm a part of this industry and I love it and I love comics. But now, like I said, now that I've gotten to a place where the machine is kind of working in the direction that I'd like it to, there's some nice momentum where I can step back a little bit and jump in and just do some experimenting, which I think, I've always admired you guys for doing, whether, when you guys first launched the webcomics pages.
Back in the day, Transmission X.
TX, right? Transmission,
Yeah, that was it started strong and then died so quickly.
It was so inspiring though. I mean, you remember I would call you guys all the time, like get on FaceTime or Skype back then, and just be like, I remember back then, like, how do you guys do the writing part? Like, just like, I was so just like Bambi out, like, because you feel like I feel like there's like weird pressure when you're an artist, and then you're like, what, I've always wanted to write anyway, and I have all these story ideas, but then there's like this weird pressure to like overperform. Like, will they be, I have to come out swinging so hard, and it took me a lot of years to get past that. Like, I don't need to dunk on everybody every time. Like, I can slowly work my way there,
Yeah.
What so you switch over to 4 years of writing, like what was like what shocked you about it? Anything you learned about it? Just like, holy fuck, this is that, because you know what I mean, like, you're kind of now you're writing for someone to draw it, right?
Yeah.
And you were on the other side of that, so
right. I don't know if it was shocking as much as it was enlightening that I, for the first time in many, many, many years, felt what like storytelling collaboration was like. Like, I always felt like a lot of my Marvel career, I just got scripts given to me. It wasn't like I was You know, outside of like working with Zeb Wells on New Warriors, where we crafted that whole book together. Outside of that, I usually was just like, here's your script, go draw it. Yeah. And I was the last in the line. So by the time I turned it in and that book came out, I was issues onto something else. So I never really felt a sense of, and I hope that none of my collaborators take this as a personal hit. It's not, but I never felt that sense of collaboration out of those projects because the script was given to me. They had moved on to the scripts that they're next in line for them. I'm kind of working on the end of the line product. But writing, you know, I sit in a room and play pretend and say all this stuff and then, you know, send it off. And then when these artists send it back, it's the first time I'm like, oh, wow. Like, you know, it's like, that's what I wanted, but it's 10 times more than what I wanted. And that's amazing. And like, and the sense of like, wow, this is what it feels like. This is getting to feel that bounce back. It has to be the closest thing that I feel like, you know, musicians have to feel with each other when they're just fucking jiving together on stage, right? Just in sync with each other. Drummer and bassist just looking at each other like, yeah, we're on this, you know? And so that was enlightening to me. And that was exhilarating and it was addictive, you know, like getting Jorge pages back is just like, it's fucking like Christmas, right? Like Strange Academy right now, you know, I'm writing issue, well, it's the 20th issue. It's a number 2, but I'm 20 issues into that. And so for 20 issues, like what was that? Was it 400 pages? Is that something somewhere in that realm?
20 times 20, yeah, 400, I think.
So for 400 days, I've gotten a page of Humberto Ramos, brand new Humberto Ramos,
the full year of Ramos.
in my inbox. So every day, whether it's 9 a.m. or 10 p.m, I get one page from him, and it blows my mind. I actually tell him now. He just finished an issue yesterday, and I have to tell him, like, man, we need to come up with better words because I can't keep just going, fuck, this is amazing. Like, you know, it's 400. It's 400 emails of me going, amazing. You know, I don't even know what to do. So
wonderful, it's amazing.
Yeah, that part I wasn't expecting. I thought that I'm a little bit of a control freak. I like to handle everything. I like to have hands on everything. But I'm surprised. I guess here's what's surprising. I haven't been that as a writer.
That's interesting.
I think that's huge because, like, moving forward, I think that's going to open your opportunities too. Like, you're going to try more stuff because you're going to have more faith in what they're going to do. What, you know what I mean? Like, you're just going to kind of let go. Like, I know Sheldon, Ramon just mentioned with Sheldon coming on as kind of my writer. I was the same way. Arden's mine. No one's touching it. I got brilliant ideas. The world will never be the same after this. I just got to finish it. But anyway. So I brought him in, and like it's like the sky's open with all new ideas. There's a sense of like, oh wow, like this, just let it go a little bit, and then more would come in. So it's fucking dope, man.
Yeah, it. What I realized was, I'm never going to collaborate with somebody who I don't already trust 100%. So me being an artist myself and have been so for 20 years now professionally, I know who I want to work with. I trust who I'm going to work with. It doesn't take me very long to flip through their catalog of work and figure out their visual language. Yeah. And that's what I think we have a skill as artists in general. We've studied it so many years that we understand Mike Mignola's visual language. We understand, we understand each other's visual language.
Yeah, like on a subconscious level, even like you don't even, it's just you have a feeling for it or something.
Right. So like when I'm writing Strange Academy, I don't have to write panel 4, 6 characters. This one has this expression. This one has this expression. Yeah. It'll literally say panel 4, classic Rama reaction panel, and he knows he knows that it's all the teenagers lined up, and each one's going, huh? Like, because he's been dunking on that panel.
It's like a shorthand almost.
Exactly.
That's so great.
Yeah, so you just trust in your collaborators at that point, and then for me, it's just made it way more fun. And I actually go the other way. Like, I don't give color notes until the artists give color notes because it's their art.
Yeah.
They have something in their head that's probably not in mine. I don't really, unless they ask me, I don't send over character designs because I don't want them to feel pressured to follow it. You know.
Oh, that's interesting.
How close do you collaborate with them though? Like, because you were saying before, when you were at Marvel, you just get the script and then you move on to the writer would be on to the next thing. Are you collaborating a little bit tighter with your
100%.
Yeah.
So all my creator-owned books at the moment are all 50-50. We create them together. A few books, Bully Wars was something that I had pretty well formed for many, many years. But when I brought on Aaron, he still was 50-50 partner with me and took a look at what I did, but then went off and did his own thing.
Okay.
But he and I talked. He and I and Jorge and I, well, Kyle and I shared the studio for a couple of years. So Twig was really just developed over fucking buffalo wings every day at our local pub, right? So
that's the best.
To me, the best thing about the creator-owned world and doing books at Image is it's 100% collaboration 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Jorge and I, the Me You Love in the Dark came from me driving to Colorado, going to coffee shops and bars with Jorge for a week, then leaving his house, renting a Airbnb for a week, and writing that whole series.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
And so, like, we just crafted it together and together, and then I went away, and then still would call him that week and like, oh, hey, I got this, and blah, 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 pew, 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 pew. You're just like, it's just like playing pretend with your friends,
Is there then, like, as you kind of start to work with other artists and you're starting to develop your craft as a writer, like, you must start kind of writing to that artist's style in a weird way. Like, I know how he could probably do this. I'm going to write this shit. So he'll figure it out almost for me. Like, because I know even Sheldon will be like, Eric, I just kind of put your name in brackets, like, fight style, like how you do, Eric. Like, he didn't bother writing it because it's like, I know you'll figure it out. So I wonder if there's probably moments like that with you, depending on the artist you're working with.
Absolutely. Oh no, it's absolutely that, because I don't, I'm going to do things differently than Jorge does. Jorge's going to do things differently than Umberto does. So I'm doing everybody a disservice if I just write one way, in the same way that I felt that way when I would get a script and be like, oh man, this doesn't work. Like, also, I don't draw like this. Like, the best thing for me is I get to write things that I can't draw. Like, Jorge and Umberto are, and I'm going to say this word, and for lack of a better one, like, they are better than me at a lot of things, right? Like, and that's not me being like, oh, I suck. I don't mean that. I just mean, like,
no, we all have our strengths. Like,
my skill set is in these 5 realms, and then with these guys, what I love about it is I get to tell stories that don't necessarily fit my art, but I'm dying to tell them.
Oh, nice. And that makes sense.
I think getting to a place where I finally let go of needing to have my hands on everything, writing, drawing, whatever. All of a sudden I was like, man, I'm going to get to tell so many more stories in my lifetime.
That's true.
If I only draw, then there's going to be so many untold stories that are just sitting on a hard drive. And it's funny, in these last 4 years, I just look at, I looked at my shelf before, which is like, a book popping up every couple of years, and it's slowly growing to, like, all of a sudden I've got a couple, like, a 4-foot section of of four trades of Deadpool and 3 trades and a hardcover of Middle West and a trade of, and you're like, oh my god, it's shit, man. I'm like, the dream's happening.
No, that's awesome.
Oh, that's dope.
Do you ever?
You know what? Let's. I think Rob's kind of pinging me to see what we're all working on.
Oh,
sure. Well,
kind of just been
Camera's rolling on the good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to figure stuff out here. Do you ever write, for lack of because it's an easy way to put it, like Marvel style, like where you just basically give an outline to your artist, or you kind of give them a little bit something tighter?
the closest I've come to the Marvel style is in like a scene, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Where I'll be like, okay, the next 3 pages is this needs to happen.
Yeah.
But mostly that's going to be a scene that I want you to be able to choreograph on your own.
Yeah.
Sorry. So for me, that is a lot more like not necessarily me going like, I don't know what to do here, but it's going, I'm not sure how you want to choreograph this action scene.
Yeah, so it's like work your magic kind of thing.
So you do your thing, and I will say, I'll either give a couple sentences of dialogue that are definitely going to go in there somewhere, or I'll just make sure that I give them the tone of that.
Yeah.
Mostly, I thought that when I started I Hate Fairyland, I tried to do that for myself. I tried to write it in thumbnails.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And kind of wing it, and then I would like think about it later.
Yeah.
But even for myself, I write completely full scripts.
Yeah.
Like, because I do a lot of comedy and humor, and you guys, like,
yeah, you got to pace it out.
It's all timing.
Yeah.
And if I'm writing Marvel style, I get wrapped up in like, oh, she sees the coffee cup, she'll grab the coffee cup, she lifts it more, and I'll animate it instead of.
Yeah.
So when I write it, I'm not as rigid with that. I let loose and I skip a lot.
That makes sense. I was curious because obviously being an artist first,
right?
Or I mean, I think we're all storytellers. Like I'm not sure what you did before you worked at Marvel. Like if you did your own zines or anything like that. Like were you dabbling in writing your own stuff before you entered the mainstream? Like before you did your...
Oh sure, yeah. I mean that's what I thought we would all do. Like I thought that's what you did for comics. I thought you just
you brought in a full thing.
Yeah, I was an Image kid, not a Marvel or DC kid.
Yeah.
So I just thought like, man, you just get in here and make up your own stuff.
Yeah.
So of course I had my Final Fantasy VII ripoff, which clearly is right up my alley, right? That's my style of drawing. But no, I remember playing Final Fantasy and being like a month into it, and then I was like, that's it. And I created just the biggest, most convoluted like world. It was hilarious.
That's what we do.
Of course, Battle Chasers came out, and then Joe Mann thought what we all thought, which was like, I just got done playing Final Fantasy 2, except I'm a badass.
Oh man, he's awesome, so awesome. Stuff is so good, man. Oh man.
So being an Image kid, what was the stuff you were reading when you were hitting the comic shop as a teenager or a kid?
Oh man, I got in right when Image started.
Okay.
So I think we're all around the same age, right? I think Eric's
I think I'm the oldest.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
47. I look 35. I look 35, but I'm 47. So
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, I'm 35, so it's no big deal.
No back.
No, I'm 44, so I'm like right there at that absolute perfect age that Image was targeting, right? Like that early teen boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is just like, sure, give me all the big guns, give me 400 bullets.
Yeah.
So I read the shit out of Spawn. I bought all the Youngblood. I brought all like Wildcats. I had all the toys. Like,
Nice.
I got
totally the Max. I mean, you name it. If Image put it out, if it had the Image eye on it, I bought it.
Yeah. Same here. I had everything. All the X-Force traded cards, sealed card things, and all McFarlane's variant Spider-Man covers. I know that's not an Image, but
it's still that era.
I followed him. I was like, fuck that. And then Sheree was big for me. Jim Lee.
Mm-hmm.
God,
Dude, you know that Travis cover for Wildcats that had was it Voodoo? Wait, is it Voodoo who's the dragon?
Yes. Yeah, she had like the tattoo or something, and she.
Well, you remember the cover where she's dressed like the dragon, and she's sitting and she's holding the dragon helmet for the costume.
Yeah, I remember that cover. Yeah.
So Tim Townsend owns that cover, and I was in his studio, I don't know, 17 years ago, and I got to see that thing in real life. Man, Travis looks like an inkjet printer. That's how good he is. Even when you get up on it, you're like, you don't see any human parts. You're just like, you know what I mean?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I love this shit, man. I still do. I got a lot of his stuff. There was what I love are the penciled editions that some of these guys would release. Where they'd be like, there was one I think with Humberto Ramos. I think it was Charest, and I thought it was Joe Mad. I thought it was all three of them in this. Like, I have this one offshoot, and it's like this my most treasured possession because it's just their penciled work, and I just drool over that stuff. I also have a Joe Mad. I have a Joe Mad thing too here. Where's that bad boy? I just can't handle this guy here. I carry this thing around me all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just all the penciled stuff, right? And I'm like, yeah, I want that. And so I just try and steal all that artwork. But I love that, seeing the pencil. What are you doodling there, Skottie?
I am trying to work out. I have a Gert and Larry commission that is long overdue. Oh, I've got a couple Gert and Larry, so I'm trying to get that going here.
I like how Steph's just like kind of trolling us with nice comments.
You guys are cute old farts.
She wanted to see the play tongue. She wanted to see, she thinks we're old cute farts. What a nice.
If you don't know, guys, Steph's my girlfriend there, so she's verbally harassing us as we go.
Oh, Steph. That's such classic Steph.
Oh, Steph Morello.
So have you? It was funny because I did the Chicago show last year, December.
Oh yeah.
And it was actually quite sad because you weren't there. Because you're like wallpaper at that show. It's like that show without you and a few other faces. Like Latour wasn't there, Aaron wasn't there. Like all these familiar Chicago faces were not there, and I still had a great time. But it was.
I tell you what, it was heartbreaking for me. It was definitely heartbreaking because, like you just said, like I've been to every one of those since it started.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, you and I were in those early years.
Yeah. So
it was very hard for me to watch one go by, but you couldn't help it with the world.
Oh no, the world the way it was. What I was getting at was, have you actually thought about or have started doing any shows at all, or are you kind of?
No, I'm back. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We did the Kansas City Planet Comic Con here in town. I mean, I'm in Kansas City now. If you guys didn't know.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember the move. Yeah.
So we did that. We did that show a couple weeks ago, and I think Megan, who runs my company here, was just talking to Mike about about returning to C2E2 in August. So,
nice.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Hopefully we get that all worked out because like I said, I missed that show. I miss Chicago because it's really, in a lot of ways, it's my home show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Chicago. I became a Chicago Bears fan because of how much I was.
Well, I think Chicago's the last time that we saw you guys, right?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I think
that's where we got you guys to come out to Sable, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Our cool cocktail bar.
Yeah, that's right. We played some hat game, and then.
Oh yeah.
We were trying to throw, I think, my hat on people's heads.
That's your move, Eric.
Eric was definitely sober for sure.
I like to have good times.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think that there's been a time where we haven't been together.
Oh, man.
Well, what's weird is you were one of those. There's people that you meet every now and then that you're just like, we've been friends for 40 years, and I'm only 30, and I'm only 30. That's how I felt when I met you in Vegas.
Oh man, that Vegas trip was
a crazy
sat
trip.
at that beer bar and then cemented a friendship forever.
Dude, I still talk. That Vegas, that night,
That was legendary.
That night and what it did to me the next morning is still it's my biggest almost ruined my professional career story of all time.
We were that was a hot I remember. I think I was still drunk going into my seminar that next morning.
Oh dude, we were all hammered.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy night.
I remember crawling in and just felt like death, just walking through the doors. I think CB or Skottie was up on the stand talking, and I'm just like,
oh yeah, no, you came at the lot. You slept all day and finally came to see what's the concept artist.
Yeah. Sid Mead.
Sid Mead. Yeah.
Yeah, like I was sharing a hotel room with Eric, and we went to bed at 7. I got up at 8 to finish my presentation, and like he's just. I've never seen a man so just like not be able to get out of bed before.
And I was sleeping between the two beds somehow in a weird way. I don't know. Oh man, that was rough.
Dude, it was brutal because I remember feeling like I was the same way as you, Ramon. I didn't have my whole plan was I don't like to over plan for talks.
Yeah, same.
Because when I have too much of a plan, that's when I actually start to get nervous and choke.
Exactly.
I'm way more of an on the fly freestyle person. So what I like to do is just have some bullet points to aim at, and if I get to them, I get to them. But we just kind of take a journey along the way.
Exactly.
And man, that was a terrible idea that time. I woke up. I was so sick. I was like so. For those who don't know, let's give them a little backstory.
Okay.
We're going to do like a tech talk, not a TED talk, but a tech talk for pretty major software company.
Yeah.
We are all getting paid not a small amount of money to do it. Okay.
No.
Probably more money than any of us have at that point had gotten at one time.
For one little
for an hour of work.
Yeah, exactly.
And not only do we get that, but we roll into Vegas for multiple days and are treated to
like a dinner,
a great dinner, and then our own private club.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Our own private club that when we get off the elevator, there are 5 servers with 2 trays per hand of drinks, and we're not talking talking bottom shelf.
No, top shelf stuff.
Top shelf free open bar, like all night, which we utilized within an inch of its life.
Oh my god, yes.
Then afterwards, our crew, which I'm not even going to say who all was there.
No, we just keep it safe.
Then our crew and us we go to what we now lovingly refer to as Mall Bar.
Yeah.
Because underneath, I can't even remember the hotels, but underneath 2 hotels is basically like an underground tunnel of a mall that connects like the Parisian and whatever, something else. And we found our way to one of the bars that lined up. I still have that photo where it had like 30 shots.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean they were real classy shots, like pineapple upside down cake shots, right?
Oh yeah.
Just fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Just fucking disgusting.
Oh god, that night. Oh man.
So then we proceed to just go to fucking town. At some point in the night, one of us on this show was fist fighting a cardboard stand-up outside of a Starbucks.
That's like burned in my mind just watching that. Oh.
Like, you talking to me? You talking to me?
And my favorite part about that scene was there's this poor lady mopping in the background.
Oh, God. I know.
She's like mopping Mall Bar at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. And then just Eric spills his drink.
I make Eric go over and give that lady like $60. I was like, you better get in your pocket right now. Give her that money.
I felt so. Oh man, thinking about it, I was like, "That's terrible." Because I think I was just sitting with you, and I was like, "Ah!" And I just chucked this drink everywhere. What an asshole!
Yeah. So then at some point, anyway, the next morning, we're all sick. We roll up to this talk. I have never felt more physically outside of my body than I did that morning. And I just told Casey, I was like, that's it. Like, I'm going to be a story on Bleeding Cool that I robbed this company of money. I showed up. I threw up all over the stage. But also, that was the first time that I actually understood what adrenaline does to your body.
Yeah.
That I was so nervous that the adrenaline canceled my hangover.
You just sober up. Like my saving grace was, because I think my talk was at 9:30 or 10 a.m. and I roll in like 5 minutes before, like sweating alcohol still from like the night before. And the guy's like, the tech guys there. He's like, we're having some issues. Do you mind if we delay by half an hour? And I'm like, if we have to, fine. I will be back. It's just like
right.
I expect to be compensated.
Right. I just remember when we all got done with our talks and we met back up for lunch. It was just like the saddest group of humans.
The funny part about that night was the night before, because Eric and I got in a night earlier before everybody else, and we ended up just raging till 7 a.m. across
so you
Vegas.
were already on. You were already on one.
Well, this was the thing was because Eric, like, we were like, we're gonna go, and Eric's like, come on, they're all gonna get in. It's gonna be lame. We're not gonna do anything. Let's get it out of our system right now. So we just went hard the first night. It wasn't planned. It just happened till 7 a.m. And then
we initially were like, we're gonna take it easy tonight, and then we didn't.
and then I'm like, yeah, guess we're doing this 2 nights in a row.
We met Skottie the next day at the beer bar. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go there and have some beers, and I think we just stayed there.
Yeah, it's like we actually went pretty hard at that spot.
Yeah,
and that was like
changed to go harder.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I feel like you were wearing like a white suit that night.
Oh, buddy, I brought
he had his little white jacket on. That's right, with his.
That's
with
right.
His,
you were all white head to toe, bro.
And he had a mustache at the time.
You did, yep. I forget what ball cap you were wearing though.
Always wearing a ball cap.
Oh man. Yeah, my poor liver. I don't think I've ever recuperated from that night.
Yeah, but it's a memory I'll cherish forever, man.
Right? It was like one of those. Can't believe that this was so. And then
the good times, the people that I got to meet through both of you that weekend, totally unplanned. I still can't believe it. It's just so wild.
Oh yeah, it was like I met some of my idols that weekend. It was crazy.
It really was just super cool.
And then just to kind of like connect with Skottie on the level was really super.
Yeah, it was really like we were like, who's this guy with Ramon? And then 5 minutes later, we're like, hey, who's this guy with Eric?
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it just cemented the Calgary trip. Like when my wife came and we got to
right.
That was just like we all four of us went out. We went to tequila later and stuff, and just fucking dope, man. That just felt right.
And it was one of those. Normal. It was one of those rare times too that my wife was there.
Yeah,
and got to like kick it and have a good time with the rest of us as well.
Yeah, and she's awesome.
But she smartly didn't go to Malbar.
She was there. She just didn't. Oh yeah, she was there. She just didn't. She just wasn't as dumb as all of us.
Well,
we always marry the smarter ladies.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no, that was an epic trip, and I'll never forget it. I
loved it.
I hope to relive parts of that again someday. I know some CB will sometimes still like bring up the photo of some of that night and just kind of laugh at me.
Well, there's one hilarious video of CB dancing.
I know, I'm just passed out.
Oh my god, you are passed out. CB's just like he's just doing this dance. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. Don't worry.
So good.
What? Who were the guys that carried me? I can't remember.
Oh, that's right, because I left you guys early.
That priceless gems. These two gentlemen gave me a carried me through the casino.
They were like, God, I think they were guys at Rando's you just met, weren't they?
No, I know them. I can see their faces. I'm awful with names.
Yeah, I'd have to like go back and look at the photos and video now. My old ass brain is not remembering shit.
Yeah, I definitely didn't remember.
You're
good
crazy.
times regardless.
You're crazy.
But
That
how
was
do
fun.
you like Kansas City anyway?
We love it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we were city people, like living in Chicago, but then, when we wanted to have kids and stuff, we left the city. But then we ended up in Central Illinois, and we really didn't like it. Like,
Really? Okay.
we just couldn't find our people, and there wasn't really a big creative community there, so it was just tough.
So
So
what?
we kind
Why?
of just
Why Kansas City? Sorry to cut you off.
oh, we just ended up having me and Jason Aaron were really close,
Oh, right.
um,
Yeah.
and he's from here, and then through him, and I also knew I was also close with Dennis Hopeless and his wife or ex-wife down Jesse, and Kyle. So we knew a good amount of people here, and then we ended up meeting a lot of Jason's friends, just his day-to-day friends, and we just like started going on vacation with everybody, and we're like, oh man, you know what? Let's just move to Kansas City. So we packed up and moved.
Nice.
Oh, that's really cool.
How long have you been there now?
4 years this month.
Oh, that's it? Okay, yeah.
Yep. So my son, like, we moved here when Baxter was in third grade, and now he's finishing up sixth grade this week.
Oh, man.
Wow. Wow.
It's like your mini-me.
And your wife is still doing a lot of photography.
Yep, she is doing great photography and filmmaking and all the
filmmaking
stuff.
Too. Oh,
Well,
shit.
yeah, she like it kind of started. It's kind of all go hand in hand, and she'll do video. She'll do kind of day in the life documentary photography, but then also shoot some video. And she's dabbled around in weddings and stuff, even though I don't think weddings are really that it didn't end up being as much of her jam.
No, this
but
is good money, I find, for
yeah, it's
photographers.
right. It's definitely a huge payday, but I don't know if that's the day you really want. Like people are pretty particular about that day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, they are, yeah. I have a few friends who are
A lot of
photographers.
bridezillas, I'm
They,
sure.
they love hate working weddings.
Right.
But, oh, that's cool, man.
So are both you guys all digital now?
No,
For now. Eric does more traditional.
I kind of do like for work. I'll hit the iPad and stuff, and it's in but I definitely like taking a good old sketchbook and a ballpoint pen and just spend hours doodling away things. And I can just take a photo of it with my iPad, and away I go and digitize and fix it up if I want to. But
Sure.
there's something about the portability and like to not having to worry about a charger.
Yeah, I've tried over the years, especially with the iPad Pro. I've like, man, if there was ever a time where it was going to be easy to go all digital on the road,
Yeah.
it's this. But I just, for whatever reason, I can't harness it. Like, I can do it for sketching and like the initial stage, but I've never been able to really figure it out for finishes.
Well, I've been able to use like the Clip Studio on the iPad is pretty great. I've been able to use some of my work.
Yeah.
Some work I do for Warframe, I can definitely take it to a finished state on Clip Studio. But then, like the total final, I'll definitely go to my Cintiq here and open up Photoshop and play between the programs to get the final result. But I'm starting to get a lot more comfortable just using that as kind of my full-time device.
Yeah.
And that's kind of exciting because I don't really want to be stuck at a desk, but I also do plan to make I have a new print project I want to work on, and I want to do that all traditional. So, because I do I like coming across old pieces of art that I had. I'm like, I miss doing like the tactile feel of the inks and stuff on the paper. And
I just find that my style is just kind of lives in the mistakes of it all.
Well, I was gonna say, like, your style is so I don't want to say random, but your line is built on the flexibility of it's not like an algorithm planning a fake brush movement. It's like
that's my problem.
You know what I mean? And you can't recreate that digitally, no matter how hard you try.
No, you nailed it exactly. I have tried it, and I'm like, man, it just doesn't feel like me.
No, I can totally see why you haven't taken to it.
Yeah, so for me, it's like I love that random juicy line when I like didn't have my elbow position right on the table and like, oh fuck, got a little that line got a little muddy and a little wet, and I'm like, fuck it,
I miss that. That's what I actually miss about working traditionally. And like, I have a project lined up where I plan on doing the whole book traditionally, and I can't wait to just get my fingers dirty, get my thumbs in there, toothbrushes, whatever the hell.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I love digital. Don't get me wrong. Like, it allows me to do so much so fast.
Yeah.
But there is definitely a mechanical element to it that, especially with the finishing tools, you can't, like, it's just, it's done digitally. You can just look at it and go, oh yeah, Sometimes you can fool a little bit. Like, I've done some tools where you can kind of fudge it a little bit, but it's still not perfect.
Yeah, like I'm jealous of Kyle because on Twig, because he harnesses it all, like, and I'm like, man, he really works that out to where it looks, you can't really tell, because he's using the dry brushes and he really nails it.
I think my ideal situation would be if I had the luxury of time, would be digital layouts and then finishes traditionally.
Right. Which is what I am. Like, I still draw digitally. Like, I've been drawing my comics digitally since Oz in 2008. Mm-hmm. But I still just print them all out, and that's why even right now doing this commission, I was gonna print out some of the sketches I have ready, but I was like, oh fuck, I forgot those are going to be colored. I don't want the printout to be underneath them. And so this one I was like, I'll just do a GURP. But man, I usually don't go like straight to paper anymore.
It's hard. It feels weird sometimes when you're actually, like, I'm at a con or something and I have to do a straight to paper commission. And I'm like, oh, this feels weird. I don't do this very often anymore.
Right.
I like it.
But
it's kind of fun though to just like chip away at it.
Oh yeah, no, I want to, like I said, I want to get back to it. I've kind of made a promise to myself to, over the next year, to kind of reprioritize myself. I know that sounds weird.
No, that's all good.
Damn, we're getting all. I love it. Let's go. Let's get therapy on here.
No, but you get caught up in other people's projects. You're always doing things, and like I'm not a guy who, like, my goal was never to work for Marvel or DC. I just like telling stories. Yeah. And, I blessed the time I had there, and I had a great time. But I never got to a point where, like, I had to fight just to co-write at Marvel. And I was just like, and I had a great time doing it, but, the book didn't sell as well as they wanted to. So I think it was prematurely canceled because we got a lot of great fan mail for it. But
what book was that, Ramon?
Nova. And I co-wrote it with Jeff Loveness, and it was an interesting collaboration because I'd never collaborated with a writer before, aside from Rob when we used to work on Butternut Squash. But
that's how I found. That's how we met.
I was like, I think we met 2005 or 4 at San Diego.
4. It might be 4. Yeah.
Yeah, around there when we had the Butternut comic out. That's right. And yeah, like, it was just, but I was like, I keep working on all these other, like, I've been lucky. I work with Dan Slott, Jason Aaron, like, Jeff Lemire, Chip Zdarsky, like, all the, like, the great writers in the industry. I've been blessed, and but I'm just like, you know what? I want to do my own stories, as stupid as they are, as silly as they are. I just got to get them out of my system, and because that's what I was doing growing up. I never drew a Marvel comic. I always drew my version of, like, the heroes or whatever it was, And I think that was part of the fun part. It kept you kind of engaged and excited about what you're doing. So yeah, reprioritizing to kind of get that stuff.
I love it.
Back on the, I think a lot of the stuff we were trying to do back in 2007 with TX, but the infrastructure wasn't there, basically. Kickstarter had just happened, maybe a year or two later.
Right. Man, you guys are crushing some Kickstarter business over there.
We're trying it. We're trying it. The community funded model, if you will. Yeah. And I find a lot of publishers are doing it. Like, it surprises me when people like Skybound or other larger companies dip into it, but for the most part, I think we've had a great run so far. So. We're launching the Kookaburra one next week, and we'll see how that goes.
No pressure, Ramon.
No pressure at all. No.
You know how big of a fan I am of Kookaburra, so I'm super pumped.
Oh, I'm excited, but I'm just like it's it's literally 15 years later, so it's just like
Right.
I'm like looking at it. Okay, I got to fix this. I got to do this. Finesse the story here. Work this out. But the audience has grown up and they've gone different. Other places. So hopefully it does well.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing though is the audience has grown up, but now there's going to be so many right behind it.
That's the hope. Hopefully a new audience will discover it. Maybe I find Kickstarter is kind of its own social platform,
Right.
And so yeah, it's going to be an interesting month. But if it works out well, my hope is to kind of leave the mainstream behind by next year and just do full-time Kookaburra Kickstarters, whatever else, all the other stories I have sitting around in my head.
Right.
And just make that the full-time, kind of like the stupid fresh mess you got going. Just
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's really what we've actually talked about this for so long, right?
Yeah.
Like the starting the company and being self-sufficient and
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And how's that been? Like, so you started the stupid fresh mess, I guess, with Substack, I guess, a year ago or so, or was it kind of before that?
Oh, before that.
Yeah.
The interesting thing with Substack is everybody thinks like Substack is really just a platform for kind of newsletter and blogging and publishing comics.
100%.
So October 2019. Well, that I always sold prints at cons and original sketches on my daily sketches through my website.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
And then once Casey and I had our second kid, Milo, we're just Casey was like busy being mom. I'm busy working and being dad, and so the website, we just decided like let's shut this down for a little while because we just don't have time to run it. So I started working with Felix at Felix Comic Art for a little while, and that was fantastic. But then after a couple of years, once our kids got a little older, we're like, again, me being a kind of a control freak and liking everything to be under my umbrella, I was like, let's take that back. Let me officially start a company, and I'll risk it and go out and hire somebody to run it, and we'll team up and start to build an actual functioning company. Yeah. And so we spent the majority of 2019 prepping. I hired one of our best family friends, Megan Hodges, who kind of was in the same position as us in that, had kids and chose some different kind of slower career paths so she could really focus on being a mom, but she's a boss ass business person. So one day we're all at the pool and we were like, hey, what if like we teamed up and you came over, blah, blah, blah. So we worked that out. Megan came on board and took over. She was somebody who was really amazing at listening to all my harebrained schemes and then implementing them. Yeah. So she brought a crazy level of being able to enact all the business stuff, where I taught her all the stuff that we knew about comics. Casey taught her all the stuff that she's been doing with the shipping stuff over the years, and then Megan has just kept building Lego blocks on top of that. Yeah. To the point now where we're in our second office building now. We have about 2,500 square feet of studio space. We have an employee that runs our shipping department 4 days a week. We just over the weekend, John Young, who's our kick-ass shipping department guy, he let us know that we just had our 10,000th order.
Oh wow! Nice. Congrats.
Since October 2019, and
congrats to that, buddy. A little cheers to the group.
Cheers. Yeah. So boom.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we in 2019. Now we did not know,
yeah, right.
We did not know that 5-6 months later the world was going to absolutely shut down. So we were pretty like, wow, what a time to start a business.
Yeah,
it ended up really working out well. Everything went well. So yeah, we ship out all my creator-owned books. We do signed versions of them with signed book plates with every. So you get a little special version of the book.
Yeah.
We opened up a Diamond account, so we're actually a retailer, so we can do exclusive covers for indie books. So we do a
nice.
lot of you covers for Amazing Spider-Man or a lot of image books that you can only get here through the website.
That's awesome.
And so yeah, my crew works pretty fucking hard to keep all that going and that machine going while I sit in this room and play pretend on paper. So I'm really lucky to have Megan and John on my team and like go with me when I come up with these dumbass ideas to try this and try that, and then they are like, oh shit, that's gonna be a lot of packing. Megan's like, that's gonna be a lot of paperwork. And it's great. And now the conventions are back in full swing. We're tackling that now too, which Megan's really excited to see that side of the business.
Is this the Megan Hodges on the chat?
Yep, she's up in there.
Hi, Megan.
Hey, there you go. I guess, and that's one thing you nail when you're talking about is it's the team you have, which and that's the thing that's got me super excited about where we're at now at Raid, is that we have such an amazing team here.
Yeah,
they're so supportive. Everybody helps everybody. It's like we got a good crew. We got Rob here who's helping with run projects, shipping. We got a full-time intern now helping with social media and press releases and that sort of thing. And we're just, we're not trying to grow too fast, too quickly. We're like trying to be smart about it. We don't want to be one of those like companies that's like, oh, we're gonna do 40 books this year, and then suddenly you're bankrupt, 2 months later. Yep. Which I've been a part of. I've been a part of that scene a few times with other companies. But it's like, what, we're just gonna we're gonna do our stuff, put our stuff out there, get it in people's hands. The next step is actually getting like a Diamond account to get our books into a wider release into stores and different places. But we're like, we're no hurry. The studio carries the weight of everything.
73. No problem, man. Happy to help. Happy to Amazing.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, it's really the way to go. It's just like you don't want to. It's one of those times that you don't want to act as if. You actually want to act right where you are. And take appropriate risks, right? Take appropriate risks, but still stay within the boundaries of being able to put money back into the company and keep building.
Exactly.
Because you guys know, like, none of this is about getting fucking rich. We're not living in castles up on mountains. Like we're trying to figure out a way to tell stories, make art, and share it with people.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And I think that we're all lucky and really, really fortunate in what we've all, like the three of us and all of our friends have been able to accomplish over the years, is like we've also built a really great community, because we're not these guys up on some mountaintop being like, oh, look at us. We're actually part of that community for real. We're nerds. Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't think there's been a time where we're not sitting around getting together and we're not geeking out over our favorite art, like to this day. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
Totally. No, that's well said. Absolutely.
So what is the next show that you're doing? Where might we see you or catch you at if we're hopping around? Are you at Heroes?
I'm doing Heroes. Are you guys doing Heroes?
I might be there. I think I have to finalize some stuff, but I might be there.
Well, Ramon, you just brought up Heroes like you're fucking already set. You got your table set up, and then I'm like, oh, cool, you're gonna be at Heroes. You're like, I don't know about it. I don't know. Check back with me.
I want to. I gotta talk to. I know I'm in the queue. I think I've been. I just gotta finalize like flights and hotels. Like Jason's supposed to take care of that for me, which I just have to get back to him with details. On that kind of thing. But I'm excited. I haven't done that show since. Holy shit! I can't remember what 2016 maybe. I think. I remember it was when James Herron was first coming up. Because I remember meeting him. And actually, I think it was on. I think you were on the same train. We were on like this little train.
Oh yes.
And you were like, "Are you James Herron?" He's like, "Yeah." You're like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. No, what it was is I had already met him. I didn't say
Okay.
that. I actually was like, dude, because earlier that day I had bought about 8 pieces of original art from him.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, because I was like, hey, how much are you selling this for? He's like, I don't know, $100. I was like, okay. And I was just like, boom. And I was like, and on the train, I was like, bro, you could have really got me today. No, I own some stellar James Heron pieces from that trip.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. That guy.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant in the context. So I thought you said that in the context of like, "Fuck you, you're so good."
Oh no, 100%.
Maybe
I said that as table. In fact, I might be wrong, but I feel like me and you might have actually walked up to his table together.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I just remember going to his table and looking at his artwork, meeting him.
Oh yeah,
Nicest, humblest guy. That
Yeah.
you know. And
but the best comic book artist I've ever, like the best illustrator on planet Earth.
yeah, he's amazing.
Who's this? Sorry, who's this you're talking about?
James Heron. Right now, is he still doing? He's got Rumble, but he's got
No, Ultra Mega is his
Ultra
own.
Mega. That's right. Yeah,
Sure,
I think
Rob will
that
bring
was just
up
collected actually. I think.
Rob, find a little link there before we can see it.
Eric's like, do this, do that.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have gotten like a big James Heron collection before
Oh.
even James Heron knew he was James Heron.
Snuck right in there.
I know. Well, I remember that dude. I remember on DeviantArt, like a couple years before I met him, he had this fucking Santa Claus versus Martians short story.
Yeah.
Remember that thing? I was like,
Yeah.
And then when I realized this guy's like 22 years old or 23, I was like, that's when I said, no,
Oh,
Ramon,
yeah,
you're
right on.
correct.
Oh, I think I know this guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. Like,
Ramon, you're totally correct. On the train, I did say fuck you, but I actually said fuck you because I asked how old he was.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he-
that's right. Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
it was. And he goes, I'm 24. And I was like, fuck you.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And then after that, I had grits for the first time and wasn't impressed.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. That's not like, I remember the spot we went to. You shouldn't have been impressed. Like, that was not. I lived in Tennessee for 8 years. So, like,
Oh wow, okay.
there's definitely amazing grits out there.
All right.
I'll
And
give
I
it a
remember
second
chance this year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? We'll go find a spot there in Charlotte.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it.
We gotta plan a trip to go visit Skottie in Kansas City or no.
Ooh.
Spend a couple
Or
weeks down
you
there.
guys need to tell me when the retreat is.
There you go.
The next
September,
retreat.
October.
We got one in October, I think, and we do it every spring and fall, basically, every April and every October.
Ooh, I want to do the October one.
Yeah, we do a nice little farmhouse in October, and it's got like the weather's kind of perfect where you could go for a nice swim, then you hit the hot tub, have a drink, go for a hike or something, do some writing. It's a nice place. You have to fight Eric for the best bedroom, apparently, though. He lays claim to that.
I think the smallest bedroom. I just a hard mattress.
It's the one away from the ghosts, I think, if that's the
Yeah,
place.
wherever the ghosts aren't, that's where I want.
No, we'd love to have you up.
That'd be fun, dude.
Well, even if, because he's so busy and popular, we can always try and make it down his way.
I'd love to. I've never actually been to Kansas. I would love to actually.
I think you guys would like it.
That'd be dope. You can go rent an Airbnb or something there. Ramon.
That'd be awesome. I do have a pretty cool loft that I've rented a couple times for like writing retreat weeks that we could grab.
Ooh.
That'd be really great. It's got a little
Fun.
rooftop. It's a little rooftop loft near downtown.
No,
I like
where,
all of those
Where is Kansas?
in the States.
No, I know that. I'm trying to picture like where is it in correspondence? Like Chicago, it's like
South and west.
west.
of Chicago,
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's been a while since my geography lessons. Have you ever, now out of curiosity, now that you're doing a lot more of your own, create your own stuff, like have you dabbled in other shows like SPX or Comic Crossroads or anything like that?
I did. I can't remember if I did the first or second year of Comics Crossroads.
Oh yeah, nice.
I did that years ago. I like that there. But no, I have to be I have to be pretty judicious with what shows we do now.
Oh yeah,
like I've got 2 kids.
Oh yeah,
they're getting old. They're a lot busier.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a ton of work on my. There's so much going on that like to warrant the time away, I've got to really make sure that it's
a solid show
that it's a solid show and it's gonna be worth the 5-6 days sometimes, because everybody thinks if you go to a show for 2 or 3 days that's all that you're giving up.
No.
But you're really giving up a week, because you need prep time, wind down time.
Yeah.
It's pretty extra.
No, it is. Yeah. Sometimes like this year I have I think 6 shows or 5, and I'm already going. I already feel exhausted. I've only done 2 of them so far.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, as I'm like, oh, there's so much more involved. Especially now that we're going like as a group, we're kind of trying to support everybody that can't make it. So we're like bringing other books and.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah,
How many people do you guys have in Raid now?
In the physical space, we have maybe like I want to say, God, it's been a while. Maybe like 15 or 16, maybe even. And then we have another probably like 4 to 6 kind of satellite members.
Right. So Dax is a satelliter, right?
Yeah. Same with Eric.
Yeah.
Right.
And but we also have the cool thing actually, because since the last time you were in Toronto was quite a while ago.
Yeah.
We were in our old space. In our new space, because we're street front, we've actually received a lot of new faces, new members joining after the pandemic who aren't in comics at all. They're like graphic designers. We got a guy who's a game developer, an animator. So it's really
that's
cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, so it's actually this nice variety of talent coming in, and it really kind of just livens the place up in like, because you get different perspectives on things, and if I want to talk to the graphic designer, get some input on what do you think of the composition on this ad or this
right.
marketing? It's because it's a different headset than
absolutely
working on comics, right? So it's been great in that regard. And
that's awesome.
Having the street front with the gallery and stuff. So we had some interesting.
You guys have like so is your coffee, like there's a coffee shop? Is that like to the public?
Yeah.
Yeah, the coffee shop's to the public, as is the gallery, and then there's like a door between the coffee shop and us. And that's where like you need the member to get inside, basically.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Probably the gallery front. You have the gallery at the front too, right? So.
Yeah. So right now we have a Sean Crystal show up.
Oh, cool! I knew Sean was doing one. I didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
He's doing 2. He's doing one show, I think. Oh, I can't remember where it is. He's got 1 or 2 pieces in, and then this one here is a full on Sean Crystal show. So one day we'll get a Skottie Young show up here.
Oh, that'd be fun as hell.
And then our whole plan originally before the pandemic was to actually have about 6 shows a year, and then fly the artist in for the weekend, have a big kind of event, have them maybe do a talk or something, and then if they want, they can stay longer, whatever it is. But introduce the public to like different artists that they might not be aware of. Basically.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So now that we're coming out of the pandemic, it's things are a little bit better. People are a little more comfortable. It's definitely been improving. So
that's great.
You know what? I think I might have to do this. You got me all thinking traditional now. I think I might actually have to ink this traditionally.
Oh, great, Ramon. Jeez, kick ass, buddy.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
That's fine. I don't get to do cartoony very often anymore. So
I know you were always cartoony.
That's where I started. It's
well,
funny.
you had to go off and do Tale of Sand and get all fancy and win all the awards. Eric, I have never been more right in my life than that. The Tale of Sand. I remember that because I got my Boom sent me that.
Oh yeah.
They sent me that, and I had gotten it. I'm gonna bring it down for a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
my dad had just passed away like the week before, and I got that book, and I had been watching you work on that.
Mm-hmm.
You had been working on pages for that for a year.
Yeah.
So you had been showing me all the steps along the way, But then finally getting like the book in my hand after watching you work on it for so long was such like I remember posting like, this is the kind of uplifting thing I need right now. And I do remember reading it and then texting you and being like, well, you just won every Eisner Award there's an award for. You just won it. And I was not wildly off.
No, you weren't. I was vastly surprised when it happened. You know, it's one of those things you never believe. Like, I went to the awards because, you know, I was like obviously blown away that we got nominated, because I don't know if I ever told you, but Stephen Christie, I'm not sure if you know him.
I know Steve.
Who was one of the editors on the project, but he was the one that I was talking to every day. And like literally the week or two, or like the week before the book came out, I'm like putting it down, and he was putting up shields for me. He's like, I don't know what you're doing, Perez, but I like it. So he's like blocking the Henson companies, blocking Archaea Boom. Like, he's just letting me go wild and do whatever I wanted, which was like unheard of in my experience.
That was really smart of him.
You know, but the funny part was, so I handed it all into him. He's loving it. He's like, I saw it come together. But then he kind of joking serious. He's like, you know, this is the most money we've sunk into a book. So if this flops, you're gonna sink the company. Right. And I was like, oh God. So like, I was like nervous as fuck when that book came out, because I was like, you know, it's one of those things where I went so into my own world while working on it that when I got back out, I was like, did I go too far? Like, did I try too many weird things? Like, I don't know. Like, you're working on, I don't know if you've had the experience where you're working on something, you're so deep. Yeah. You're working on it so fast, you don't have time to think. You're just kind of going on instinct the whole time. And that's what that project was for me. Like, they gave me the freedom to kind of do whatever I wanted, which was like an amazing blessing. And I've never had that probably since. I mean, I've had it in different ways, but you know, when you're given a script that you're adapting completely, right? You know what I mean? It's different than being given freedom on a full script, basically. Because you're kind of still like, you get a full script, you're still kind of adhering to a degree to what the writer wants, or you know, what they've set down. Even if you kind of want to, you know, like, I'd be lucky I could talk to like Jason or Dan when I work with them. I were like, oh, do you mind if I remove these panels or add another one here? And they're pretty cool about it. But for the most part, it's their show when it comes to the story. Yep. You know what I mean? So it was nice to actually work on something like that and have that freedom to kind of let loose. So
it was just, what an accomplishment. It's like one of those things where, you know, again, I guess I felt a little bit more personally connected to it because around that era, you and I were talking online a lot. Like, all of us artists were back then, because it was like, for the first time, it was easy to connect online with video chat, and it was really, you know, a way for us to keep from losing our minds, because you know, we could hop online and like talk to our buddies and be like, okay, this is going to keep me in my chair a little bit longer.
That's exactly, totally.
But you and I were also you and I, and I'll say, you know, I'll throw Carl in there as well. Like, we chatted a lot because we were all kind of similar, like, entrepreneurial minds trying to figure out the next steps of something that was going to keep us because I think we're all outside the boxers. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I remember us constantly being like, how are we going to survive when they all cut us loose? Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we were just, and so we were all hungry enough to want to think about the business side, but we also didn't want to I didn't want to just start a comic company and start, you know what I mean? So
no, of course, because that's a whole other kettle of fish, right? Yeah. You know, I mean, essentially, you've kind of done that, minus actually producing the books, like, to the printer. Right. But you know, you're writing, you're bringing your team together and stuff. But it's a lot of work. But so like I wish I had some of the knowledge and opportunities that are in my lap now that were. Like, I wish I had them a decade, 15 years ago. Like, the shit I could have done back then. Like, I mean, I still plan on doing it, but, you know, as you get older, you're like, you know, I want to go to bed. I want to go on a holiday.
Right. Yeah. I used to be able to, like, grind until midnight, and now I'm like, it's like like right now I'm like throwing up inside that I'm still working. Like I can't believe these cocksuckers have me working on it.
Hey, your fans are going to be happy because you're getting these commissions done.
Oh my god, I know. I feel so terrible, by the way. Anybody who is on here that has not gotten commissions from me, please. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, it's like one of those things. You know this, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You always think you're gonna have all the time in the world, so you're like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do some commissions."
Nope.
Yeah.
And
No,
then, yeah.
I have a hard and fast rule, like, and I've broken it once or twice, where I never take a commission home after a con. And those times I've broken it, it's usually 2 years by the time
Oh
that
yeah.
person
Well,
gets
this wasn't even that. This was like for the last couple of years I've taken them, but this year I took another round of them. But what happened was I didn't know the Substack situation was coming.
Okay.
So I took the commissions, and then Substack kind of became a thing, and I really had the opportunity to take some seed money and start paying a lot of great creators to create new comic book content.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, all of a sudden I went from being an artist, get ready to do some commissions and writing a few books, to becoming a kind of a publisher.
Yeah.
And trying to learn the ropes of that. And that, you know, I've got editors that, you know, pretty much, you know, that I have to have meetings with, you know, once a week and catch up on all the different books, and where's this person and where's that person and where we at and where's our budget. And, you know, actually none of the fun stuff.
Yeah.
None of the fun stuff.
Actually, out of curiosity, you just kind of made me think of a question. Now that you're doing a lot of this stuff for Image and you're writing your own stuff, do you actually hire out an editor to kind of
Oh yeah.
sound check your stories, basically?
My editors so far have not been as much content editors as they've been project managers.
Okay.
My current editor, Joel Enos, is on board, and we have chatted, and we are going to have much more of a content editing relationship.
Okay.
That will help exactly what you said, like get you in that space of like, let me and Jorge, let me and Kyle, or let me and whoever I'm working with, bounce some stuff around and get in a headspace of you know, just making sure this is all working. But for a lot of it, it's like so far it's been more project managed based.
Okay.
Than it is content editing.
Do you find you like self-edit pretty well, like with?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that is another thing that being an artist first for so many years has helped me with.
Okay.
Is that before we lay ink down, we need to know that it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if that takes 2 hours, it takes 2 hours. If it takes 2 days, it takes 2 days. But our brain won't let us put ink to paper, final to paper, until we know that it works. And my brain works the same way with writing. I've almost, whether or not this is good or bad, I've almost never done. I've done very few, like second or third drafts in my career. Like.
Okay.
We will go in and definitely tweak things, but not a complete overhaul.
Yeah.
I think Strange Academy was one of my first big, like, let's do multiple drafts, because it was a first issue with a ton of characters and, you know, a lot of moving parts. But for the most part, like, I toil over it at the beginning so we don't have to keep revisiting.
Yeah.
And really nailing it down. So yeah, for me, I definitely think that part of art has helped me a lot.
Nice. I find I find, or I mean, I could be wrong on this, but like, you know, in an industry that's predominantly writer driven, and you know, a lot of the writers are, you know, fantastic storytellers, but I feel like an artist driven script is different. It merges the two best elements of the medium. Right. Because, you know, and this is no disrespect to the writers I've worked with, because, like I said, I've been super lucky, but it's like, I find, like, if I could take, like, for example, I could easily take one of the scripts I've worked on and turn it into 2 issues, basically.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And make it breathe a little bit nicer, have it have more precious moments and that kind of stuff. So,
Absolutely, you're definitely not wrong there at all.
You know,
In fact, like you're making a great point because a lot of the reviews that I've seen so far for our first issue of Twig with Kyle is everybody's complimenting the moments that I'm just letting Kyle carry the pages.
Oh, nice.
And I'm not talking about like one page. I'm talking about 3 pages where I'm like, I don't need to talk here. Like I don't need to say that. It's a travel sequence, and I'm gonna let Kyle just absolutely like destroy people's eyeballs. And I don't need. They don't need to hear me right here because that's not what would happen on a journey. At this part, they'd just be traveling. And Jorge was always really good with catching me too. Like, you know, I sometimes I would want to be like, okay, well, people want to read something, and he'd be like, I think you nailed it in this first panel. Yeah. Let's just let it ride. I'm like, you're right. And he's so good that getting me stepping out of the way lets this be the kind of medium that we really say it is, which is, you know, it's a visual medium as well as a narrative one, you know?
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask you if you ever, in your early days, ever felt like you had to put words on every page or every panel. Like if that's something you kind of fought maybe to prove yourself, or you felt like just because you were taking the reins as a writer, you had to be like, well, I should add something here, maybe like a quip or... Yeah,
they're definitely, I definitely at the beginning, I felt like I probably overwrote. Luckily, my first creator-owned book, like Rocket, okay, I did the Magneto miniseries, and that one I definitely struggled with. Like, because I'm not necessarily, I know this, I don't know if this is okay to say, but I'm not necessarily, I don't view myself as a plot-driven writer. I really just love character. So whenever there's a plot-driven story that I'm working on, I feel like, God, do I need to say something here? You know? But, and then working on Fairyland did a better job for me because it was like, okay, is there something funny to be said here? No? Cool, shut up, you know? Like, but then working on Middle West and The Me You Love in the Dark with Jorge, he's just so fucking good that's probably where I did my most learning of when to just be quiet and like let me write whatever I'm going to write, but then let him do it. So I probably spent more time deleting things that I wrote in Middle West than I did adding stuff after the fact.
So you would do like a heavy edit after you got the art in, basically, and kind of go through and. Well,
sometimes I would send it over to Jorge, and even as he would start giving the art, or sometimes during the thumbnails, he would be like, "Hey, what about this? Blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's just totally fucking delete that comment. Like, we don't need that because you're nailing it right here in the visual." So yeah, my second drafts. So I guess I'm lying. My second drafts were more deleting and editing than it was rewriting because I'm not. I trust our storytelling ability. I trust our storytelling skills. Once we get the story on paper, to me, it's not about changing. Hey, I also like fucking going with your instincts, man. Like, to me, first drafts are like it's like our drawings. We're just like, this is what I felt right now. Like, it's what I felt the day that I wrote it, and I don't want to second guess it. I might be wrong. But I kind of like it. I like it. And I think we're the only storytelling medium left where that's possible. Like somebody's gut instinctual idea makes it to print. You know?
That's true, yeah.
Like movies go through 4,000 people before we see them.
Yeah.
You know, novels go through edit after edit after edit. Like there's so many art forms where it's just touched by so many hands and so many people and so many filters that with comic books, you can read a book that was my first take, my first thoughts, my gut at the moment, you know, which could also be dangerous. It could suck, you know.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's what I always kind of said about Kookaburra. Was like, this is my first draft. I'm putting it on the web. I'm putting it out there. It might not be the best in certain parts, but this is me just getting it out of my system. And you know, when I go to print, I'll probably finesse and edit for sure. But it's like, but I agree with you. It's like this is like one of the few mediums that you got like, you know, that 100% vision attainable or immediate gut instinct.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, Ramon. I mean, you probably played, without me even fucking knowing it, you probably played a huge part in me feeling like that as a writer because of Kookaburra. I remember talking to you about Kookaburra and it being like your freestyle comic.
Yeah.
And I read it and I was always so fucking impressed because I was like, man, fuck this guy. This guy, it's like, this guy's making shit up on the fly and it feels like he was fucking crafting this shit for 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you got to tie the bow at the end. You got to make it work. That's the harder part.
Right. Yeah. Then I was like, man, fuck this guy. He hasn't worked on this in fucking 20 years now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
man.
Scottie, do you approach each writing project like? Do you have a certain process that you do for each one that's the same, or you kind of start? Is the project dictating how you approach it when you write it, or?
No, I mean, I definitely have a process, a writing process. I guess it's really about the idea formation that changes. Like, you know, like Jorge and I right now are working on our next project or trying to get that one cooked up. And so, you know, that's where it's like, okay, where are we going here? Are we thinking of genre first? Are we thinking of character first? Are we thinking of what's our driving force this time around? You know, a lot of times what we do is we sit around and we're like, okay, where are we right now? Like, you know, maybe we might have talked about something, you know, a long time ago, but maybe that's not where we're at now. You know, like, you know, I might have wanted to do a Lobo book 3 months ago, but now maybe I want to do, you know, a time traveler's wife book. You know what I mean? Like, it really depends on where your motivations are, where your inspirations are at any given moment. So Jorge and I right now, like, we may, you know, Jorge might send me over sketches and text, and then I'll be like, well, that's what I was feeling last week, bro. But, you know, and so right now we're in that check-in stage of like, okay, what is this going to be? But as far as like, once that's done, then my process is kind of really down to a pretty good science as far as that goes. I will, you know, I have a program that I work in that has kind of like a virtual corkboard.
Oh, Scrivener?
Yep, Scrivener. Yep.
Nice.
Love Scrivener.
Yeah.
So I get in, and my first thing is like, I got my brainstorming folder where I just open up, I put a bunch of index cards on it, and I start filling out scenes.
Yeah.
Just random scenes, like basically set pieces. Like, man, what would be cool? Like Twig. Let's take Twig for example.
Yeah.
Kyle and I would just sit at the bar, eat wings, have drinks, and be like, talking mountain. Oh, this thing, cool, that thing, and you just keep listing things.
Yeah.
Until we have, you know, 40 of them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. And then we get a general, like, who's the character, blah, blah, blah. And now I start aiming at some of those things, you know. I take the character story and then I start aiming at a lot of those cool set pieces. And sometimes they don't fit. And you're like, damn it, I really wanted that to work.
We got a question here from Alexia out there. What made you come up with the Me You Love in the Dark story? Was there like a catalyst for that story?
The Me You Love in the Dark was me in Toronto with Jorge. We had just finished, or actually he was finishing Middle West, so we weren't even done yet. I remember we were at the coffee shop that morning and we were listing genres. That's where everything started, from genre talk. What genres do you want to do? Horror, blah, blah, blah. We kept listing things. We're like, oh, cool. And we kind of came up with this cool sci-fi story and then talked about that a little bit. But then on the list, I said I was like, man, at some point in my career, I want to try a horror story. Like, it's fun. I like horror movies. I don't think anybody thinks that I do a horror story. So at some point, I'm going to have to do a horror story. And then I was like, I am a romantic comedy junkie. Like, so at some point I'm going to do a rom-com or just a straight love story, right? I'm pretty sure that in the Deadpool issue that we worked on, I'm pretty sure I did a Notting Hill joke or Love Actually joke or something. I'm not sure I've done a comic book that didn't have a Notting Hill or Love Actually joke.
That's awesome.
I'm a hack like that. I just keep repeating. So
I like Notting Hill. I don't care.
once we started talking, I realized we kind of were like, well, what if we combined? Like, what if we combined these two genres? Like, it did like a horror love story. And we were like, fuck, that's kind of interesting. So we really dug that and this other sci-fi joint that we were talking about. So over the course of that week of me being in Colorado, we kind of did a loose conversation plot of these two stories. And then we sat back, we're like, man, these are both pretty cool. One was kind of a, actually, I'm not going to talk about that one because I think we're still going to do it. But one was very one tone, and then Me You Love in the Dark was very different, way different than that. And the other thing that Me You Love in the Dark was probably not as fun to draw.
Yeah.
But I also knew that the Me You Love in the Dark was probably much more, I don't want to say commercial. I just thought it would reach a wider audience, and an audience that Jorge and I probably haven't reached yet.
Yeah.
Because of the kind of books that we've done. So we were trying to decide which one was going to be first out of these two books, and I was really angling for the Me You Love in the Dark, and I don't know that was Jorge's first choice, but we both knew that I basically was like, it's only going to be 5 issues, So like, how about we hammer this one out in the next? And he was like, all right. And it was doubly hard because all my scripts were like, okay, there's this ghosty thing, but you can see him, but you can't see him. And so you know what? Figure that out, bro. So I made Jorge's life pretty difficult. But I don't think there's anybody on the planet that wouldn't say he fucking rose to that challenge and absolutely destroyed on that book. But so that really just came from us being like, yeah, I kind of want to do this, and we both kind of want to do this, and let's see if we can't combine those two, and talk about what kind of relationships that start off with the greatest of intentions and how they can go pretty bad pretty quick.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh. I mean, I love dabbling in different genres, romance, fucking horror. I mean, the cool thing is you can do like a little test short story even and try it out somewhere.
Yep.
In what we do. Have you ever thought of dabbling outside of comics? Like, have you ever thought about collaborating? Like you were mentioning, your wife is dabbling in film, like doing some film stuff or like gallery, like large scale Skottie Young paintings. Is that
the gallery thing is definitely like film stuff. I have going on with some of the projects.
Nice.
So that's really cool, and that will take form in some ways soon, I believe.
Cool. Very cool.
I definitely have desires to do like gallery shows, like because that was some of the stuff. Like I got into comics based on just giant illustrated pieces, not off comic book work.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. So I really wasn't like I drew my first comic book without ever having drawn a full comic book. Like I drew Iceman #3 and never had I think up to that point I think I had drawn a total of about 5 sequential pages in my life.
Oh, that's hilarious. Really?
Yeah. So I really I've even told Megan, I was like, I'd like to figure out, and I don't even want to go find a gallery. Like I'm at the position where I'm like, I want to go do 30 pieces, and then I'll find a gallery myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Totally.
I'll set it up. I'll rent a space.
Yeah, the Raid Studios, buddy.
Exactly.
What does Skottie Young doing gallery pieces look like? Are they like? Because I know you have like a variety of influences, and
right.
You come from like I mean, I could be wrong. Like you have like skate culture. You have
it would be a way more of a throwback to more street level art and like like mixing street level art with like kind of my doodle illustration style, where it's like kind of I don't know if you call them phone book doodles or like sketchbook freestyle, but anytime that I really start letting loose, or like if you've ever looked at me, look at my stuff when I'm like sitting at a restaurant when I'm out of town or whatever, and I start drawing on the menus, and then do an art drop and have somebody come pick it up. It's like it's stuff like that, like that I really would love to have be like really big pieces. So basically canvases where I just get a bunch of paint markers and doodle, you know.
Do you have the space in your new studio, like your new office, to do that?
To throw the show or to make the art?
No, just to have like a big section where you just walk in with your morning coffee and there's like 3 5 by 8 foot canvases just waiting there for you.
Yeah, we have a lot of space. Like if you see the room that I'm in right now is, I think it's like a 10 by 12 room. And it has like a glass wall over here at the front that you can see, and then there's another office pretty much the same size right next to me. But then we have a huge open area that has TV and couches and our library, and so we've got a lot of room here.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because I find like that's by just creating that space for yourself, I think, you know, that's the catalyst to make that stuff happen, right? Just like literally just buy a couple of buckets of paint or markers, put these canvases up, and one day you're going to walk in and go, you know what? I'm going to go in that room instead of this room.
Yeah, and that's, you know, what's funny is it's pretty much been like, you know, before I was like, oh my God, I need to knock out some art so I can get to the writing. And now I'm like the exact opposite. I'm like, man, I need to get through some of these scripts so I can get to some art, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm really like have my wife looking at Airbnbs today so I can run off and over the next week or so and just basically get some of these projects, because I'm like a momentum person. Like if I just have the runway and you give me the momentum, I can actually finish projects pretty quickly. It's the starting and stopping different projects that's very difficult.
Yeah, that's when you're upshifting and downshifting kind of thing. You know, to get in the groove, as I say, because like I'm the same way. Like I've had projects where it's lingering, it's like sitting there, and I'm like I'm not feeling it yet, and I just kind of work up to it, and then one day I just come in, and I just barrel through, and not in a negative way. Like I'm just doing the work. I'm in the flow, whatever you want to call it, but sometimes there's like it could be just like the right amount of doodles triggers it, or maybe, you know, cleaning my mental plate off a little bit with other stuff. And then once that clarity's there, or that kind of proper kind of vibe, you know, I just dive in and just kind of just go nuts. Like people, you know, like I work fast, but I like working fast.
Me too.
You know. Even though I'd like to try to work slow one day, but I don't know if I can actually pull it off. I think I might get bored.
Right. Well, that's what I don't. I think people, like you said there for a second. You were like, well, I don't mean like I rush through it, but it's like I don't think people realize that most of us don't take a long time on any one thing.
No.
We take a long time getting to it. Like it's like once we're in it. It actually, like, scripts for me go fast once I'm in it. It's getting there. It's going like, am I in the headspace to start it today? Yeah. Do I have the ideas for it today? Like, some days I'll sit there and look at like my plot index cards and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I feel like such a fraud. And then sometimes I just go to the bar, I have 2 drinks with some friends, or I take a nap, and then I wake up and I've got like all the best ideas ever.
Yeah. No, or it's even the thing where like you have it thinking. It's actually, I think, one of the things that John Cleese, that Back to Vegas, when we were there, he spoke about with his, I think it was Harebrained Turtle Mind is the book, or I'm blanking on the title, but something like that, where it's like, it's all our ideas are always resting in the back of our heads, whether it's art, composition, or story, or whatever, and you're kind of thinking about it all the time, even if you're not thinking about it in the conscious part of your brain. It's always in the unconscious, right? And then one day it's like, I think it's percolated enough in that subconscious where it kind of comes forward.
Right.
And just you barf it on the page, whatever it is. And that's what I find with certain like I remember one time I did a commission at a show where this guy, it was like a full page commission. It was quite pricey, and he was upset that it only took me 4 hours to draw.
Yeah.
But I told him, I was like, listen, I've been thinking about this piece all week.
Right.
Like in my head, because I like the character. I want to do something really cool.
Right.
And I left it till the end because I was like, just kept thinking and thinking and thinking about it. And I got through all the other commissions, and then I got to it, and it was just like butter. It just like came out, and I was just like, it came out perfectly, and I was so happy with it. And then he was like, wow, that took you too quickly. And I'm like, I was like, I'll happily refund your money. Like, I love this piece.
Yeah. Well,
I mean?
that's the classic. That's the classic. Like, how long did that cover take you? And I'll be like, I don't know, 2 hours. And they're like, you get paid this much to do that in 2 hours? Like, no, I get paid this much 2 hours plus 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
No, it's so true.
Yeah, it's like the greatest thing is finally, but what they're not considering is the years that we were like, I did that cover. Like, if you flash back 12 years, I would redo that cover 5 times because I was so unhappy and unskilled. You don't want, hey, trust me, you don't want the cover that took me 10 hours.
Yeah,
exactly. That wasn't 10 hours of my skill pouring out on that paper. That was 10 hours of my insecurity and pain.
And frustration and everything, yeah.
Right. What you want right now, you want my instincts right now, because that's the funny me, that's the fun me. Like, that's the stuff that you want. I know you think you want this labored over thing, but it's really not.
Yeah. You want the confident you.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Is there any like big project that you definitely want to hit one day, but it's so far away? Like some secret big thing you've never tried, like solo, everything, just something by yourself, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, and you guys might be aware of this little character, but I've been drawing that little gas mask kid boy for 10 years plus, and he's my Moby Dick. He's my great white whale at the moment. Like, I've had this character and this story or this version of a thing in my head for so many years, and I'm finally at a place where I believe I've got it. Now it's my classic one where I'm like, okay, now that I finally have it, if I could just get some of this stuff off my plate, it'll happen. But I definitely think it will happen. It's going to be hopefully sometime this year.
Oh, very cool.
You were playing with like around the same time we were doing TX, weren't you, or something?
100.
Yeah, I totally remember that. I know the character, but I remember I think you were even talking about launching a webcomic at one point.
100%, yeah. It's been everything.
Maybe you can submit something for an anthology, a rating anthology.
There you go.
He's like, Eric, shut up, I got too much work to do.
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try to be a part of an anthology,
Yeah.
Exactly. Eric's always selling.
He is, man. He's on that grind, bro.
Yeah. Gotta get shit done. I do remember when I first kind of started chatting with you at the Chicago Con, the first one I was at there. I think I was just like, man, how do you get into what you're doing there? And you're like, honestly, man, I just fucking drew what I wanted. And that's it. I just kept at it. Just draw how you fucking want to draw. Don't worry about it. It kind of blew my mind. Well,
thanks, man. I mean, I feel like the industry just kind of came around to me. Like, I was told that I was too cartoony for years. And I was like, well, unfortunately, I don't know how to draw any better. Like, I was like, this is kind of my speed, man. Like, there's not I'm like a fixie bike, right? Like, I've got, I don't have gears to switch to. You know what I mean?
What was that? Because I remember your early stuff was very deadline, very clean. I remember was it New Warriors? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, what was the switch that clicked that made you jump and kind of let loose with the brush in a different way? Was anything in particular, or were you just kind of fucking around one day?
Well, it was. So that's interesting because up until that point, I was just convinced that I wanted to look exactly like animation, right? Like I just wanted it to look so perfect, and I don't even know why. And then we started a drawing night in Chicago, like a drink and draw, and it was about 2006. We started these drink and draws where a bunch of us Chicago cartoonists got together, and around that time I had gotten the Kuretake brush pen that you guys have seen me inking with all night, and I totally wanted. You can see it here.
There you go.
Right?
Okay.
Let me see. God, it's all opposite every time I'm on here.
Yeah.
So I got that pen, and I was convinced that I was working on New X-Men at the time, and I was just like, man, I just want to ink like Tim Townsend. You know, I just want to look like Chris Pacello, and I just thought that's what I was. I thought that's who I was, who I was as a comic artist. And so I got this brush, and I was like, I'm gonna ink with a brush now, and I want to be just like Tim or whatever. And of course, I chose the drawing nights as ways to practice. So I'd draw a drawing, and then I'd start inking it with this brush, and then I'd fuck it up. And instead of just scrapping the drawing, I would rush through the rest of the drawing with this brush, really just sketching basically with ink. And over the course of a couple weeks of me consistently fucking up and then sketching the rest of it, I actually started to like the sketchy half. And I was like, this actually reminds me of what I just forgot that got me into it reminded me that I grew up looking at Calvin and Hobbes, which was not clean drawings.
No, yeah.
It was really loose inks. It reminded me that Sam Keith was one of my early favorite artists, not Joe Mad. And Joe Mad's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe Mad hit me at a moment where I thought maybe I need to be Joe Mad, right?
Yeah,
I need to try to be really perfect like that. Or Umberto, I need to try to draw just like Umberto or Chris. Mm-hmm. And what I realized was after, a good number of years in the industry so in 2007 when I was working on New X-Men, I remember doing a 5-issue run. We brought Magic back and it was pretty successful, but then they asked me to come on and do 2 more issues because there was just some weird timing with this event that was coming up. Mm-hmm. So could you do the next 2 issues as well? And I really didn't want to, and I was tired and the schedule was crazy, but I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I tried it in this new loose style.
Now, did you warn them?
Nope. I just did it. I just did it. And they were like, whoa. And I was like, right? And I don't know. But we were actually kind of on a tight schedule and nobody could really tell me different. Now, I've since not gone. I'm not as loose as I was then. So I definitely was exploring new realms of less clean art, and I feel like now I've landed back somewhere in some sort of hybrid of my old cartooning style mixed with basically I think I'm just now much more of a classic cartoonist that I grew up looking at. To me, I'm much more of a Jack Davis than I am a Jack Davis or Bill Watterson than I am any comic book artist that I could name. Because these were just people who were drawing expression first. Yeah. And line and style second. So yeah, we can see here, you could, this is the Gert drawing tonight.
Yeah.
All the shapes and stuff are there, but it's just I don't really care. I don't care about the line quality.
Yeah.
Because once you pull back, it looks. It all works.
That's amazing.
Oh no, it's it looks especially even in print when you shrink it down, all those little idiosyncrasies disappear.
Right. When you go back and look at Sparky's Peanuts, and you look at stuff like that, you're like, man, none of this stuff was as perfect as it's been in my head all these years.
Yeah.
They're just expressing. Mm-hmm. They're drawing feelings right now. And then once I realized that it's not about how fucking good I am at drawing a line. It's not how good I am at understanding perspective. It's not about how good I draw buildings. Mm-hmm. It's really just about, can I make you feel something with shapes and lines?
Yeah.
And can I have fun while doing it? That's the number one fucking thing.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's totally true. You know?
Like, we've all been part of jobs where we're like, man, this is fucking grueling. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, I've been there many times over the past 2 decades.
Right.
But
Is there? So, I asked a few of our guests this. Like, what's your what would current day Skottie Young, if you could go back to young day Skottie Young, give him what kind of advice?
Don't drink with Eric.
What?
No way.
Drink with Eric Vedder.
That's full 100, man. What I would say is, calm down and enjoy this. You're gonna be fine. Like,
Yeah,
I think,
totally.
in the early years, I don't know. People probably don't understand this. I mean, when you're first starting out, like your first handful of freelance years, man, you're basically finding. Okay, if I come on and do 5 issues of New X-Men and you guys love it, what you don't realize is 2 issues in, I have to start looking for another job.
Yeah.
So imagine if you are, you are an architect and you get hired on at a firm and they're like, welcome to the firm. In 6 months, you do not work here unless you figure out a way to work here still. Like, and there's such a handful of years as a freelancer where you're constantly looking for your next job while trying to do the best job you can at your current job.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, you're like, man, now I've got to learn how to draw Spider-Man. It's going to take me about 5 issues to learn how to draw Spider-Man right when I'm done drawing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So it's
So
such
fucking true.
it's such a weird mindset to be in those early years, that I would go back and say, just enjoy this a little bit more. Like,
Yeah.
I tell this to
Yeah.
it'll all work out. Yeah.
It'll all work. Yeah, it'll all be all right. Yeah.
I also tell young artists and cartoonists, like, I know this sounds counterproductive to being an artist, but have a work schedule. Have a work schedule where you turn the switch off.
Yeah.
And you recharge enough to turn the switch back on the next day and crush it.
Yeah. No, that's smart.
You can kind of burn out quick. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. When I started working 9 to 5, when I changed and I'm not saying you have to do 9 to 5, but when I changed to 9 to 5, my career went like this. Like it was going like this, and then it would do it like this, because I was like, well, this is the only time I have.
Yeah.
Like when I was whatever, I was like, fuck it, man. Let's go downtown. Let's go to the comic shop. Let's go to the record store. We'll just do this later.
Yeah.
And then the next day I'd say, let's do it later. I remember, this is no shit, I'd fuck around so much that when I'd look at my deadline and I realized, okay, I've got 12 pages left, but I've only got 5 days, I would start marking. I'd be like, okay, well, on Tuesday I'm going to have to do 3 pages.
Yeah.
And that makes you throw up. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
I've been there, yeah.
But then once I started working a set schedule, it was like, here's my schedule, and it's not going to change. And it's like, man, when Friday at 5 rolls around, I'm not looking at work until Monday at 9.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend.
Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your life. Be present for your family. Be present for your friends.
Yeah.
If you don't have a family, your chosen family, whoever, be present in their life. Let them be present in your life. Refill your tank.
Yeah.
Because I think as artists, we really burn through our fuel too often.
Oh yeah.
And we don't take care of ourselves enough to refill the tank.
Totally.
Yeah.
Enough.
And I believe also in like doing other things that are not drawing or looking at a computer screen. You know what I mean? Like I play a lot of Warhammer, so I'm like building models and I'm rolling dice, I'm playing games, and I'm in a whole other thing. I'm not looking at a screen the whole time.
Right.
I'm just enjoying some other world, some other things that are not in the art world. They all still fuel it. It's all still ideas that I'm going to steal and add to my own worlds.
Man.
It all fills it all up, but it's like
Or just
Right.
Good travel,
Listen,
good dinner.
my wife and I watch all the Love reality shows, right? We watch Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor Paradise, Married at First Sight, Love is Blind. We watch them all together. And you know what? I write a Deadpool issue. He's on The Bachelor. I'm taking it all, right? Like You have to
Amazing.
like go be something else that's not
Yeah.
your job. You know, there was a time in my life where I'm like, I don't even know how I maintained having a wife because all I talked about was fucking comic books.
Yeah.
Like, and then I'd be like, hey, people are coming over tonight. She'd be like, great, you guys are gonna talk about comic books. I'm like, fuck yeah, well, yeah, duh. And it wasn't
That's
until
true.
like, you know, where now it's like the majority of my in real life friends, they don't have anything to do with comic books.
Yeah.
I'm just the guy that they know who makes them,
Yeah.
but it's not what we talk about when we're out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like, what stand-up comedians are in town? Let's go watch them.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And that's good because it does give you that break to reboot
Yeah.
and inspiration from outside. I mean, we can get real incestual in our world, right? Like,
Oh, fuck yeah.
totally. Yeah.
No, it's true. Like you need to. I mean, I've fallen down that hole many times in my career where I'm just like working too much, burning out, candle at both ends, and you're
Right.
not filling the tank. You're not, reading any. Like even this year, like I feel bad. I haven't read anything probably for 4 or 5 months because I'm just like, sometimes I just sit down. So I'm like, I'm just gonna watch something. It's just easier.
Oh, dude,
You
I
know?
have been the worst, absolute worst comic book fan
Yeah. Oh yeah.
for about 3 years now.
Yeah.
Like, I will say that I did finally. I for a long time I was buying comics digitally,
Mhm.
and I think because they were out of sight, they became out of mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And because I got too busy to go sit on my screen, like that is one thing that writing does is at the end of the day, I do not want to look at a screen anymore.
Yeah.
But also I don't necessarily have the bandwidth for reading after it.
Yeah.
But I since in the last actually just couple weeks have went and purchased a bunch of actual graphic novels again, physical media, to be like, I want this sitting in front of me. So when I'm like, what should I do? I'll pick that.
Yeah.
Instead of like my 4th rewatch or my 24th rewatch of The West Wing.
Yeah, that's what. My girlfriend always makes fun of me because she's like, "Why do you keep buying all these books? They're piling up everywhere. You haven't read any of them." I'm like, "Don't worry, they're just reminders."
Right.
And I'll slowly pick like Grass of Parnassus or like
All right, calm down, intellectual snob.
Intellectual. This is the Imminence webcomic.
Well, that's what. I'm gonna read over here the Grass of Parnassus. I'm over here like I'll probably read Lobo.
Lobo is cool too. I love Lobo.
I'm kidding. Stewart is a genius. We all know it.
Oh yeah, he is fucking genius. Oh man.
Well,
dude,
I think we hit 2 hours, guys.
Yeah.
I know, man.
Easy pants.
Thanks for an awesome night, dude. It was so good catching up with you.
This was so fun. I cannot.
awesome.
I really, really cannot wait to do it in person with you guys
Oh
again.
my god.
You
Yeah.
are two of my favorite human beings. And I
thanks,
love
man.
you guys. Honestly, I love that it doesn't matter if we go 6 months or a year.
Mhm.
That when we see each other again, it's like zero time has passed,
Yeah.
and we're right back in there. And I really do. We'll get off and really give me some details if you guys are open, because I really would love to come.
Oh my
To the
Oh, for
retreat.
sure. Yeah, we'll talk after the show. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Dude,
And I'll make sure. I'll get Eric to come to Chicago. Come on, Eric.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Come on.
I would love to, man. If I've been touring it, I will. If I can, I will. Isn't Fan Expo right after that, though?
Yeah, whatever.
We'll see. Scotty, I love you, man. It's
Yeah,
been
love
great
you
to talk to
guys.
you, buddy.
And love everybody who tuned in tonight.
Yeah, thanks
Yeah,
everybody
thank
for
you all
tuning
for
in.
Sorry I
Yeah.
didn't pay attention to the comments at all. I was
It's so
down.
hard.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's hard. It is
thanks for
hard.
everybody,
You've
and
been a
I
great
guess-
guest, my friend, and we hope to see you, Rob. Awesome behind the scenes.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Rob.
you
Rob.
for coming.
We appreciate
And,
it, Rob.
Till next.
Get to drawing.
Yeah, get to draw. Keep making shit, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. Make shit.
Nice. That's fantastic.